Uganda is not going to end on the 18th of February. And therefore, if you go and do cast your vote, which you must do, all of you, if the results are not in your favor, you have no right to destabilize the country.
Edward Katumba Wamala was born on 19th November 1956 in Bweza in Kalangala District, Sese Islands. Far from the corridors of power, he grew up in a family whose roots were connected to the lake, trade, and rural life.
Gen Katumba Wamala is a very simple person, from a very humble family, a fisherman's family, from Kalangala.
In an interview published by the Daily Monitor, Katumba recalled his childhood in Kalangala and described the influence of his father and family on the man he would become. The boy from Bweza would eventually find his way into the military, and the military would become his life's defining institution. Katumba entered Uganda's armed forces during one of the most turbulent periods in the country's history. He served in the Uganda National Liberation Army. Then, in 1986, the political and military order changed dramatically. The National Resistance Army defeated the UNLA. Katumba transitioned into the new military structure, and from there, his career began a remarkable ascent. His education extended beyond Uganda. He trained at military institutions in Tanzania, Nigeria, and the United States, and studied at the United States Army War College. He later earned a bachelor's degree in international relations and diplomacy from Nkumba University and the master's degree in strategic leadership from the United States Army War College. By the turn of the millennium, Katumba was no longer simply an officer rising through the ranks. He was becoming one of Uganda's senior commanders. In 2001 came a significant appointment. Edward Katumba Wamala became Inspector General of Police. He was the first active UPDF officer to serve as head of the Uganda Police Force. For 4 years, he led the country's police force. Then came another transformation. In 2005, he returned to the military and became commander of the UPDF's land forces. He was increasingly associated with Uganda's regional military engagements, including the country's peacekeeping role in Somalia. Then, in May 2013, came one of the highest points of his military career. Katumba was promoted to 4-star general and appointed Chief of Defense Forces. From the lake shores of Kalangala to the highest professional office in Uganda's military, the journey had taken nearly 4 decades.
I've seen this force grow and under the leadership of General Ronda. So this is a force which is better organized, which is more professional. As we have heard, we have been doing a lot of training and we are going to continue with that. And so I think I'm really kind of having, I wouldn't call it a total soft landing, but I think I'm having a smoother landing than what it was before.
But Katumba's public service did not end with military command. He moved into civilian government, first as Minister of State for Works and later as Minister of Works and Transport. The soldier had become a politician. The commander had become an administrator, and the uniform increasingly gave way to the suit. It was a new kind of command. No battlefield, no parade ground, but still the same fundamental question: how do you serve?
Early today, as General Edward Katumba Wamala was setting off from home, he was attacked by assailants traveling on 2 borders.
Then, on 1st June 2021, Katumba Wamala's life changed forever. As he traveled from his home in Kampala, armed attackers opened fire on his vehicle. The attack was targeted. Katumba was shot in both shoulders. He survived, but 2 people traveling with him did not. His daughter, Brenda Wamala Nantongo, and his driver, Haruna Kayondo, were killed. For a man who had spent decades commanding soldiers and confronting danger, this was a different kind of battle. Not one fought on a battlefield, but one fought for survival and for the ability to continue living after an unimaginable loss.
You have lost blood. That's God's plan. So I have nothing, absolutely nothing to this world, but the bad guys are bad. But God has given me a second chance. I will pull through. Don't worry, I don't have bad injuries, only the arms.
Katumba survived, but survival came with a price that could never be measured in military decorations or official titles, and yet he returned to public life. Uganda police later announced that its investigations had linked suspects to a domestic terror cell and described the attack as political violence and domestic terrorism.
Many members of the public who could be having knowledge surrounding the identity of these assailants to share that information with us.
In 2023, Nkumba University awarded him an honorary Doctor of Letters in recognition of his contribution to his community, country, and humanity. His story had become bigger than the military. It was now a story about endurance, about reinvention, and about continuing to serve after surviving personal tragedy. After approximately 47 years in national military service, General Katumba Wamala is now approaching the end of his military career. But the end of a military career is not necessarily the end of a life in public service. As he moves into another chapter, his legacy will be measured not simply by the positions he held, but by the journey that took him there. For a man who began life on the shores of Lake Victoria, few could have predicted the distance his journey would cover. From Bweza to Bombo, from the police headquarters to the highest levels of military command, from the battlefield to the cabinet, and from an assassination attempt that could have ended his life to a continued role in public service. Edward Katumba Wamala's story is not simply the story of a general, it is the story of a country seen through the life of one of its most enduring public figures, a soldier who became a commander who became a politician, a father who endured devastating loss, and a survivor who continued to serve.
Many times people think when we put on these uniforms that we are strangers or people. We are supposed to behave differently. We can't be different. This is just a mere uniform. Just like the way you put on your clothes. We are the same. The blood flowing in your veins is red and mine is red.
General Edward Katumba Wamala is also a family man. He is married to Christine Katumba, with whom he has 6 children, 5 daughters and 1 son. Unfortunately, their firstborn, Brenda Nantongo Wamala, tragically lost her life during the assassination attempt on her father in June 2021. As the uniform becomes part of his history, he remains active in public service as he was reappointed to the Ugandan cabinet, this time as Minister of Public Service since the 26th of May, 2026. Joram Paul Ssonko, NTV.